Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I will show you how you can improve your car by installing bigger screen than original one, or as I'm using the Android one. So originally the screen was size 6 point something, the Android one offered me screen of 8.8, and the newest one that I will get is this one, which will be 12.4. So it is a big improvement. I cannot wait to install this. The reason why I'm doing this improvement, why I'm making this upgrade, it's a functionality which comes with the new radio, which will be, I think, Android 14, and the current one which I'm using is Android 9. So that should be a quite big improvement in functionality. But also there is a wee problem which I've noticed, and not only me but few of my friends as well that got cars like mine. You see, this is installed in the tunnel, and behind this there is air conditioning and the heating system. So when through the winter I was increasing the temperature, that was sadly making my radio crazy. Sometimes it was switching off, sometimes it was just restarting, was switching between the audio sources. So there was a number of wee problems with it. So through the summertime it's fine, it works okay, but the winter time when I was using heating was not the best. So the new radio, it's, as far as I understand, is blinding the tunnel and will be installed on the outside. Also it will allow me to reach the touchscreen in much better way, and also have Android Auto, which will allow me to give me more functionality for navigation and other connections with the radio itself. So I will show you what comes with the unit. So in the first place, depending of course on the set which you're gonna order, I will put the link to this one into the video description. I got it from Aliexpress. So that's the main unit, which is our Android radio unit. You got connectors on the back where you're connecting your wire for your car radio. Then you got connection for antennas, and that's basically all. You're getting quite nice cable which allow you for connectivity with every kind of phone. So you got USB-C, USB mini, and plus the Apple connector, so that's pretty good. You also got blinders which you will use for blinding the tunnel, which is this one. Then depending on the set which you will order, I also got reverse camera. My camera works fine, so I'm not gonna be replacing it. If you'd like to know how to connect the camera, I have another videos on my channel. I will put the link into the description so you can have a look on that. There are tools for removing the panels, so that's pretty handy that you get them as well. You getting your GPS antenna. So again, I'm not gonna be installing this one because I got my own one from previous radio, so there is no point for me to just rewire everything. You got your USB connectors. I will try to use the current one which I got, because it's not easy to put the wiring from here back to the other side. So I will try to use the current one. There is a main connector. That's quite nice because there is also, yeah, the auxiliary in it. So that's the main wire connector which you're connecting to your main radio. And then I'm not sure, well, it looks like antenna. I think this is just antenna. One is GPS antenna, second one is just radio antenna. Because from what I've seen, this also have DAB radio, so this should be that. So let's start with removing your... So we will start with size T10, which is a key like this, and we will use this to untight the two screws which are located here, and the second one is located there. I hope you can see it. So by taking those two out, radio will come off. So with them gone, those two, you can fold down the radio and then start disconnecting your connectors. So if you got, I disconnected one already, which is this one. So if you got Android radio, keep in mind, please remember that to disconnect those connectors you have to press, like here there is a wee button, and this will allow you to pull this out. If you're not gonna press this button, you're just gonna rip off the connector. So remember to press this and then pull it. So what I meant with those connectors, you see like here, that's the Android one. You're pressing the button here, and this allows you to release the holder for it. So press the button and then pull it. Don't do this other way because you can break it. Same as for antenna connector. Where is it? Here. this one as well. You have to press it and then pull it out. If you're not gonna press it, you can just break it. So remember, because you know, installation of it, probably you've done it same as me, like year or maybe, you know, longer, so you might forget those things. Anyway, now we have to remove this. So to remove that, it's better if you see here, if you're gonna do this from the outside. So you just adding your tool on the end and then pulling it out, and do the same on the other side, and then do the front. Don't try to put it here because you can just break something, and this is much easier. So from the outside, there from the outside, and then there will be connector for those buttons. We have to disconnect this. Now you see my unit is off. I put this up like this, and there is a connector here. So what I would recommend, hold by that, and the second finger hold by this and pull it down. So this will allow you to disconnect the wire. Don't pull for the wire because you can break it and you don't want that. So definitely grab for the connector. You can also help yourself a little bit maybe with screwdriver. Just put it on the edge, you see, on the edge of that, and pull it down. Now the next step will be to take your cross screwdriver and take those two screws, this one and that one. Now the next step will be to remove this. So you add in your tool on the side here on basically this height, because there is a holder for it, and just removing it. And you're doing the same on the other side. Now be careful with that when you will be doing it. Don't try to put it out, because I've seen the unit in the past which was this bit together with the bottom one was one piece. So just observe if they are separated, just to make sure that you're not gonna break something. Now we're gonna disconnect those connectors. So remember that they are, remember the color, what you are disconnecting, because again, I remember not on this car, but I had one extra connector, which was a gray one. So remember to note the colors of what you are disconnecting, and to pull out the disconnect the connector, sorry, you're pressing the middle of it, and this will allow you to move the outside bit around it. So you're pressing it, and then the outside bit will go around, and this is how the connector is. Now to remove this part, you have to put your tool over here on the top. You see there is a holder for it here, so you have to put this on the height of that and just use the force to put it out. Then do the same with the other side, and when the both sides are gone, then you can put some force to disconnect the bottom part, which holds this as well. With my previous car which I had, I was able to remove this, but I think on this one it is glued, so I'll have to just play around to remove this around this. But normally it should go up and should come off, so in my case I don't think it will. So you see, depending on how many buttons you have here, you will have connectors on the back. So you will need to disconnect those connectors. They should be just easy to remove. Just put it out like this. So disconnect one connector, the other one, and then play your way around if you cannot remove this, just to take off this unit. Now, when you are taking off the bottom part, remember first to open the drawer, because in other case you can break it. You can just destroy the connector here, just break something. So open the drawer and then remove this unit. And if, as me, you cannot take it off, just play your way around it and you will basically get it. So the next step is gonna be to take off this cross screw and the other one, so we can take off our iDrive. Now on the back of your radio, you got your, you see this is like a antenna connector. So again, same as before, you have to press the top of it to be able to disconnect this. Then you got main wiring. You have to press the two bits. I don't know if I can show you that. You see those, you have to press them together, and this will allow you to lift this up. And by lifting it up, the connector will come off, as you can see. Then depending on what you actually have on your radio, you might have additional connectors. So just disconnect everything which you got, so you can have free access to your wires. And then we can assess, depending if you got your Android radio or you got your basic radio, which connectors you might use for your new radio. So guys, I removed the old wiring. I only left what is needed for myself for the new radio. Now it depends if you are upgrading or you basically replacing from basic unit. But if you are upgrading, then I noticed that my USB connector for USB cable is the same, so I just left this as it is. Of course, I left my reverse camera, I'm not gonna pull it down, and the microphone I also left, and the GPS antenna, so that's the only connectors which I left. If you are installing this from fresh and you never had those, have a look on my previous video where I explained how to make those connectors. So now when we got this, then we're gonna put the new wiring. So I just gonna take that as a first, and then as previously put this here and then through the tunnel next to the vents, and this will come up here. So that will be the first what I would. Now we're gonna connect the radio wiring. So we're gonna connect, you see this is a female connector, we're gonna connect this to original car connector, which is this one, and then we will connect another one to the radio. Now keep in mind that if you are using CD changer, then this optic wire you will have to connect first to the connector and then place it into your radio. So as you can see, I reconnected the antenna, then I connected my new wiring from the radio to the radio itself. There is also my CD changer in it, and they are connectors on the back. So all the connectors here are done. Then there is another one which is for auxiliary. So this is wire which go from the top, which goes down here. I connected this as well. Now we'll be adding the radio back. So keep in mind that they are vents here, so when you will be adding radio down, you have to pull the wires down and make sure that this is uncovered. So when you're adding the radio and it's coming here like this, put your hand down to clean the vents and put the wires below the radio. Now you can secure your radio with two screws, the cross screws here and over there. Now we can add back our panel. So remember to connect those two, this one and the one on other side. Connect them first. Remember to go around this to not damage it, and also be careful because there is your lighter connector that's gonna be up, so you have to play around this just to not damage this too, and then put this in. I decided to do this differently. So the wire which goes with the SIM card, I put this down there, then on the side of this, drop this down, and I put this out here. So the connector is here. It works in the way where basically you're pulling out this wee bit here, and this allow you to get access to the SIM card. You see, you can add the SIM card here. Just pretty handy. I like the idea of that. Now I took out the top part of this. You see, this is the pocket which goes there. I took up the top part of it, so it will go down into it and I will get access from here. I've done the same with USB connector for my camera, so it's up to you if you're gonna do the same. You can try to put this there, but it's way more complicated. This way will be much easier. Now for the DAB antenna, I will transfer this through this, but to get access to that, you have to remove the cross screw which is here. The second one is there, the third one is there, and the fourth one is there. So take up those four. Now you can do the same with GPS antenna. So I will drop this down into this place and then pick this up in the open slot that we just did, and then I will transmit this to the other side. So if you don't have GPS antenna, you can do exactly the same. Drop it down over there and then pick this up over here. Now we'll squeeze the wire here as the previous one goes, you can see, and then glue this just here next to GPS antenna, and then just assemble the bottom part. So I just realized that I've made small error because this part is fixed. This is not something that have connection on other end. So the SIM card connection, I will have to pull this out, then put this through the blinder and then drop it down. So I'll have to just put this there for now, and that will have to go this way. So I've done it. I corrected my mistake. Now there was no manual with the unit, but I think that this should go this way, and to install this bit up I will use original screws. I'm not gonna use the one that they provided because somehow it doesn't fit, so I will use just that. Now with this plate being in place, you see it's fairly secure. I will add the connectors to the radio, just connect this down. And now I will take a chance on the beginning for the rear camera, and I think this is gonna be the red one. So I will connect the red one from the camera to the red one from the unit, and then make all the connections and place the radio. I'm not gonna screw this in yet. I will first test if the reverse camera works and if the system actually power on. Now when you've made all the connections, you can put the blinder in, and then you're securing this with the thin screws, and you are adding this to the metal plate that we installed before. So it's this. So I had big problems with adding those 2 screws in, and I did manage to do it, but I had to put a lot of force. So I was holding the plate by my one hand on one end and then forcing the screw to go in on the other side. I hope with you will be different. The issue might be, you see, I didn't have the manual for it, so everything I was doing, I was basically guessing. So I've noticed now that there was a tape which was going on top of this plate. So when you will be doing your thing, remove the tape first and then put this in. Maybe just by adding the extra tape, I'd make my work much harder. So now when this plate is in, you adding your unit on the top and sliding it down, and then afterwards we are just adding everything else back to the way it was. So now we're adding everything back. So remember where was your connector on which side, and then just add the connector and secure this with the wee thing like this, and then put this back and then secure with 2 cross screws. Now the next step is add this back. So you're going from this end to the other, squeezing it in, and then making connection which we disconnect before. Make sure that you connected this before you will place it. And now because screen is so close, be careful how you're doing it because you can damage it. So guys, this is how it looks like when it's all installed. Now I tell you that I had to change one thing. So the connector for the camera was not the red wire, was actually the 12 volts wire. So when you go to your car info, and then when you go to general settings, well, in my case, I had to select the aftermarket camera. And now when I turn the reverse gear, I can see everything behind me. Previously, it was like wibbling, pictures. So that's one of the things that I had to change. So the access to the radio is brilliant. I love it, honestly. I might make following up video where I will speak more about the whole unit, but the installation of it was fun as always. So I hope that you enjoyed the video. That will help some of you to make brilliant improvement to your car. And anyway, as always, I wish you a good day.